Are electric vehicle owners' lives in danger when they plug in and charge at DC fast chargers? Well, the literal answer is probably yes, but the fact is you can die doing just about anything these days. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a device that was designed to prevent electric vehicle owners from being attacked, robbed, or even worse, while they're plugged in and charging at public DC fast chargers. Let's get into it. Electric vehicles, all of them, are designed so that if there's a plug plugged into the vehicle and the vehicle is charging, or even once it's completed its charging, as long as that connector is still plugged into the vehicle, you cannot turn the vehicle on, put it in drive or reverse, and drive away. It won't go into gear, it won't move as long as the connector's tethered to the vehicle. Sounds like a smart idea, right? You don't want to pull out of your garage or from a public charger by accident and rip your charger off the wall or damage the charger or create some type of a shock that damages the battery or something like that. So, hey, it sounds like a great idea, right? And look, we've all seen those videos of gas stations where the person is inadvertently driving away, doesn't realize the nozzle's still in their car, and it rips the gas pump out of the ground or causes a fire. And then we've seen those videos of a car driving down the highway with the hose dragging behind it. So, hey, with electric vehicles, let's make sure that doesn't happen. You can't put the car in gear if there's a plug plugged into it. Sounds like a great idea. However, there's always unintended consequences when you come up with a new way of doing things. And one of the issues that electric cars can have is the fact that while you're plugged in and the vehicle can't go in gear, you can't get away if there's some sort of danger occurring. With a gas car, if you're at a gas station and you're sitting in your car and the car's filling up and you see somebody get out with a gun and start coming towards you, you could throw that thing in gear and drive away, and who cares about the carnage that you're leaving behind, destroying the pump or whatever happens. You're getting out of there. But it doesn't work that way with electric vehicles. If there's some sort of a dangerous incident, you can't leave. You'd have to get out of your car, which is the last thing you want to do if there's some kind of danger happening outside of your car. You'd have to get out of your car, unplug the vehicle, get back in, put it in gear, and drive away. And those precious seconds can be longer than what you have. So a company called EVject just formed, and they created a solution to this. And they made a little device that when you plug it into your vehicle and plug the connector into that, allows you to put the vehicle in gear and drive away, even if you're in the middle of a charging session. Now, you wouldn't have to worry about this if you're at home. Well, hopefully you wouldn't have to, or if you're at a home charger in your home garage. These are really meant for public charging stations, particularly DC fast chargers, where people go plug in and sit in their car sometimes for their charging session to be completed. While you're sitting in that car, as I said before, you can't drive away. And if somebody rolls up in a car or a gang of guys walk up while you're not paying attention and want to rob you, or worse, you're stuck. You can't get away. So this device allows you to. It allows you to put it in gear and just drive off. So I reached out to them and asked them if they'd send me some samples. They complied, and I'm going to do a review of it here today. They have one that's for Tesla vehicles currently with the North American charging standard, and soon other electric vehicles are going to be using that standard, but for now only the Tesla vehicles use it. And they are coming out with a CCS1 and actually a CCS2 for Europe. They sent me a prototype of the CCS1. It's not really available to purchase yet, but the Tesla one is ready. They've got tons of them out there, and people have been using them for months now, and I thought it was time for me to get a hold of one and see if this thing works. So next up, I'm going to hop in a friend's Tesla, take it to a supercharger, and see how EVject works. State of Charge is powered by Qmerit. After I've helped you decide which electric vehicle charging equipment you're going to buy, follow the link in the description of my videos and let the EV charging installation professionals at Qmerit install it. All right, so I'm pulling into the parking lot of my local Tesla Supercharger, and luckily we've got a bunch of open stalls here, and there doesn't look like there's any bad element here that I have to worry about attacking me, but we're just going to pretend that that's the case here. Let me back into one of the stalls. Okay, this looks like a good one to me. Okay, here. Backing in. Okay. Okay, now let me get out the EVject. Okay, it comes in this nice little carrying case here. Okay, so here we go. Let's get out, plug it in, and then I'll have a pretend emergency and drive away, and hopefully it won't break the charge port of this car, which I borrowed from a friend. That would be very bad, EVject. Don't make me look bad. Let's see how this thing works. Okay, I'm out here with the EVject. What I'm going to do now is plug in the Tesla, let it start charging, and then sit in the vehicle, as most people do when they're charging if they don't go into a convenience store, coffee shop, whatever. You sit in the car, and then I'm going to, I guess, pretend that somebody's coming after me and put it in drive and drive off, and we'll see how well the unit works. Okay, so the way to use this is you first attach it to the connector. Now open your charge port, then you've got to pull in this tab here. I don't know if you have to pull this in yet, but you connect it to the vehicle. Now you pull in the tab and you have to hold this until the vehicle starts charging. That's the instructions say, at least. The vehicle is charging. Okay, so now you can release it. Now the Tesla is supercharging. Let's get back in the car and see what happens when we try to put it in gear and drive away. All right, so I'm back in the Tesla now. I'm charging. Something's going on here that I'm not comfortable with. The vehicle shouldn't be able to put in drive and drive away. The way electric vehicles work, all of them, is that you need to stop charging, go and unplug the vehicle before you can put it in drive and drive away. But I don't want to leave the vehicle because there's danger outside the vehicle. So with EVject, all you're supposed to be able to do was press the unlock charge port button, which I just did. I can hear the vehicle stop charging. Now I'm going to press the brake, put it in drive. Let's see what happens, guys. It worked. I'm driving away and it left the half of the EVject on the end of the Tesla connector. So I'm going to back up now. Let's take a look at the damage. Okay, so I'm out of the vehicle now. Let's go take a look at what we have. I did press the open charge port door because the flap had closed over the broken half of the EVject. Okay, so as you can see, half of it is still in the vehicle. See that there? Now those pins shouldn't be live. I say shouldn't, and EVject tells me they're safe, but I'm not gonna touch them. I think I just remove it now and I can grab the plastic on the outside here. Yep. It came right out. And also what fell on the ground were a bunch of screws. Let me see if I can pick them up. Give me a second. Well, I have at least 2 of them. And here, let's take a look at them in my hand. These screws, I guess, held, oh, there's 2 more here, so I have 4 of them. So it really self-destructs. This is not something that you could use over and over again. You can't like fix this or send it to EVject and they put it back together. It's a one-time use. So this is only something you really want to use when you're in an emergency and you feel threatened. You don't want to just use it because you're too lazy to get out of the car and unplug it. So let's take a look at the other end. Okay, here's the connector with this half of the EVject. Pretty cool. I guess I just release it here. Let me unplug it. Yes, I can pull this apart. Let me drop it on the ground and hang the Tesla connector back up. Okay, so this is what the other half looks like here. So I'm going to put it all together, gather up all the pieces, and drive back to the State of Charge garage, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. But here on site, I can tell you, this worked. At least the Tesla version of it. They're coming out with the CCS1 version soon. I have the prototype, which we're going to talk about in the review, but this works, and it can allow you to get out of there if you feel like you're threatened. And I think this is a useful device for people to have. So I'm back in the garage now, and I collected as many pieces as I could. I found 4 screws on the ground, but the more I look at the unit, I think there were 6. But they're little black screws with the black pavement. Not that I'm going to use them for anything, but I was just interested in getting everything. And then the only other piece that actually broke off was this tab here. It's part of the locking mechanism that locks the adapter to the car. Everything else pretty much is intact. Now here's the 2 halves here. And if I pull them apart, you could see this is the half here that remained attached to the Tesla connector. And the interesting thing about it is it has dual purpose. First of all, this has to break in half so the vehicle can drive away. But what this also does, I noticed there's a big scuff mark on the corner here. It protrudes from the end of the Tesla connector. So as the adapter breaks apart, the vehicle drives away, the Tesla wand is going to whack and hit the ground. This takes the brunt of the damage. The Tesla connector, once I remove it, is fine. It doesn't damage it. So they had to develop a device here that not only worked and would allow a vehicle to drive away, but they also had to be cognizant if they couldn't end up damaging the Tesla Supercharger. You know, that would be a big problem. Now I did notice, and if you look in the video, the Supercharger got a good yank and it actually wobbled a little bit. Doing it. So I'm sure if this was an occurrence that happened every day, if people were using these every day, there would be damage eventually to the Supercharger because it pulls it pretty hard. And I would even think it's possible that if you did this all the time, there might be damage to your charge port. But I looked at the vehicle, there's no damage to the charge port. You know, this broke away just fine, and it's not something that you'd be doing often. You know, hopefully you never have to do this, but if you did have to do it once or twice in a lifetime, I think would be the most you'd ever need it. So there's really no damage there. I'm a little concerned about using it on level 2 chargers because you can use this on a Tesla destination charger too. Now, most people don't sit in their vehicles and wait for level 2 charging because it takes really long. You're there for hours at a time. Superchargers and DC fast chargers there, you know, anywhere between 10 and 40 minutes. So you could sit in the car and do some work or read or watch a video or something, but you don't typically sit in your car when you're level 2 charging because you're typically tethered there for many hours at a time. And I'm just concerned about how the force that this takes to break this in half. I think there's some level 2 chargers that the charger itself might get pulled off of its mount. But again, while it will work with level 2 chargers, I don't think it's really designed to do that. And quite honestly, if you're in a life and death situation, or you believe you are, and you're going to put this thing in drive and pull away, you know what? If you do damage the charger, listen, that's minor compared to you escaping unharmed. So I wouldn't worry about that. I just don't think these will be used on level 2 chargers that much. Unless you really need to charge and you're somewhere in a sketchy area, then you could certainly use it. And if something happens, get the hell out of there and don't worry if it's causing any damage. But in any event, so looking at this closely, I could see how these connections work. You could see the two pins inside the adapter. The part that stay in the vehicle are sort of a male pin, and the ones that stay tethered to the Tesla connector are female, and they slide into each other and make that secure connection, and then they break away. And these screws here, as I mentioned, it looks like there's 6 screws around the outer part. I only got 4 of them. They just simply rip out of the plastic and fall on the ground. So it's a pretty ingenious device, and EVject tells me that it's engineered to be able to withstand continuous use. Tesla Superchargers at very high current. Now, it's not safety certified, but no charging adapters are safety certified yet. UL 2252, which is going to be the standard for certifying electric vehicle charging adapters, isn't finished yet. So no electric vehicle charging adapters whatsoever are currently safety certified, at least by a recognized certification body. People can say they're safety certified, but you want to have one that's by an ETL or UL or CSA, one of the bodies that is really recognized worldwide as a standard. So yeah, it worked. And would I buy one of these? The more I think about it, probably. Coming into this review, I had said, look, I've been charging for 15 years my EVs. I've never had an incident where, I've felt threatened. There were 1 or 2 times where I had my eye on somebody as I was charging in a parking lot late at night. The problem is a lot of these public charging stations are located in sketchy areas. Sometimes companies put chargers like behind buildings and it's not lit. And if you're charging late at night and there's no one else there, you kind of are a sitting duck. So I don't think it's a bad idea to have one of these. I think I'll definitely buy one after we do this review and leave it in the vehicles, my EVs, for my wife. If she ever feels like she's in an area where she feels a little unsafe, just put it in. It can't hurt. I probably would never use it in an area during the day where there's a bunch of other people charging and you're out in public where there's a lot of people. But, then again, you just never know when a threat can happen. Somebody can roll up in a car, a gang of guys with guns. I don't live my life in fear thinking that's going to happen, but it could. And, having something like this on hand in case you have an incident is just kind of like an insurance policy. And it's only $300. And we're going to get to that pricing a little bit later because I'm going to have a discount code for those of you that want to buy it from this review. You can get a nice healthy discount. I'll talk about that at the end of the video. And here's something else that I found out from the company that I actually wasn't aware of initially. I talked about how you wouldn't want to use this just if you were lazy and you didn't want to get out of your car to drive away because it's a one-time use. This thing cannot be put together. It's broken. It's done. However, EVject has a policy currently, at least I don't know if this is going to last forever, but the way they run their business now, they're a startup, they're just getting some traction, is that if you do use the EVject, and for a legitimate reason, and you're willing to take the pieces that you have left, at least you won't have the piece that was left on the Tesla connector because you're driving away. But when you eventually take this piece out of the car, if you put it in a box and send it to them, along with your story, and you explain what happened. And if you have any pictures or video of the incident, if you drive a Tesla, you might have, the Sentry Cam recordings. If you're willing to tell them your story, they'll send you another one for free. So it's kind of like a one-time purchase. You pay the $300, and if you end up using it, they'll send you another one for free. I can't imagine that being a sustained policy for the company, but I can't speak for the company. They said that's what they're going to do, and maybe it's going to happen forever, or maybe it's going to happen for a short period of time. But if you do buy one now, and you need one in an emergency situation, and you tell them what happened, and I guess you give them permission probably to use it on their website because they want to show people that there's real people buying these and that there's problems that have made them use them and they were thankful that they had them. They'll send you another one for free, which is awesome. So it's kind of like a can't lose. Great. So listen, there's one last thing to talk about. I mentioned earlier that They also sent me one. Oh, actually, I'm forgetting something. I was going to do an unboxing for you guys. This is the one of the ones that they sent me. I actually bought one, and they sent me another one to do the review. I initially bought it to do the review. Then I got in touch with them, and they're like, well, let us send you another one because you're going to want to use it. And, you want to have another one just in case you want to use it personally. So they sent me one, but this one here I paid for. Here's how it comes wrapped. Here's the unit here. We'll sit that here. They also give you a little instruction manual here. It tells you how to use it, both in an emergency situation or if you're just going to use it and then unplug the vehicle, unplug it from the vehicle, put it back in your car. They also give you this nice little EVject carrying pouch, this silver carrying pouch. So you could drop it in here and leave this in your car, which is pretty cool. You don't need it, but it's cool. Okay, and lastly, let's talk about the CCS1 EVject. This didn't come with a carrying pouch. It's too big, I guess, to fit into the pouch that they have. And this is a prototype anyway. They've told me, I think they only had 2 of these, and they sent me one of them. Maybe they have more at this point, but when they sent me this, I think they said they only had 2. And you could tell this, well, you maybe can't tell from the video, but I can tell this is like, feels like it's like 3D printed. But it works on basically the same system as the Tesla. The only advantage with the Tesla system is Teslas have the ability to, from inside the vehicle, press unlock charge port and stop charging. Not all electric vehicles can do that. So that presented a problem for EVject. If you can't press that button, which is necessary to allow the EVject to then sort of trick the vehicle that it's been removed, because that's what it basically does. From inside the vehicle, you press the stop charging, unlock charge port, and then the EVject makes the vehicle believe that it's been removed, because if it's plugged in, the vehicle can't go and drive. So most other electric vehicles out there don't have that same system, so that presented a problem for EVject. So what they did was they created the CCS1 EVject. And if you notice, there's a little tab here. You pull this out, and I believe that connects a battery inside the EVject. It would need some sort of a power source because it also comes with a remote. Now this remote here, I don't believe is the one that they're going to be selling with the production version of the CCS1 EVject. I think this is something they just put together to send me with this prototype. But the reason why they need this and the other EVject doesn't is because the other electric vehicles work differently than Teslas. The Teslas have that unlock charge port button that allows the EVject to do its thing. Many other electric vehicles don't have something like that. As a matter of fact, they all work slightly differently. So that poses a problem for EVject, where they have to make the CCS1 EVject thing kind of universal. And evidently, this is their solution. I don't know exactly how it works. We'll do a more in-depth video in the coming months once they have the production version of the CCS1 EVject and the production remote, and I'll explain how it works, and we'll go through all that. I'm not going to do a demonstration of this prototype with one of my CCS1 electric vehicles. I don't really like using prototypes in my videos unless I absolutely have to. And in the case, this was a production one, so let's stick with that. We'll do a total demonstration of this once I get the production version and the production remote, and then I'll be able to further explain how it works and how it tricks the vehicle into believing that you've removed the connector, because it has to do that in order for the vehicle to be able to be put in drive. As it is now, you know, that will not happen. When you try to put your vehicle in drive and it's connected, it'll tell you cannot shift into gear while the connector's connected. This is going to be interesting. I'm really interested to hear from EVject how they're going to make this work kind of universally on all EVs that have CCS1 and CCS2. As I mentioned, they have the European version, and they're already selling this. You can pre-order it online. And talking about ordering, the EVject is $299, and reasonable price, in my opinion, for what it does, particularly because they offer this swap out guarantee, where if you use it, they'll send you another one as long as you tell them what happened and you're willing to share your story. So I think it's pretty reasonable. And to make it even more reasonable, they are pretty liberal with affiliate coupons and so forth. And I've set a coupon up with EVject. If you use state of charge, all one word, you get 25% off, which is a nice chunk of change. It's $75 off. So the EVject, regardless of whether you order the Tesla version or the CCS1 version, will be only $225. And that's very, very reasonable. I will note one thing about the Tesla ones. It doesn't work on all Teslas. Some of the earlier Teslas have different charge ports. The inlets are a little bit different. And from what I understand, that makes it difficult or makes the EVject not fit properly. They are working on making a few variations so that if you have, say, an older Model S or Model X, you can order a specific one and get that. But right now, go to the EVject website and make sure your Tesla is compatible. It doesn't work on all of them. It works, I think, on all the later Model 1s. And I think it works on all Model Ys, all Cybertrucks, most Model 3s, and the later Model S's and X's. But again, double check on the EVject website to make sure that your Tesla is compatible before you order it. All right, well, that's my first look review at the EVject. I'm going to be doing some more content on this device because I think it's really interesting. Do I think every EV should have one in their glove box? You know, I wouldn't say that. This is going to be a personal decision on whether or not you think that it's worth having the insurance. Again, if you do buy it, you have to use it. You know, if it's sitting in your glove box, you forget to plug it in, that's going to be the one time where you are in a situation that maybe you'd like to get out of. I've been driving EVs for a long time. I don't know of anyone personally that anything happened to like this, that they would, you know, felt like they would, their life was threatened or they were scared where they would want to just drive away. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I've seen news reports of similar incidents. EVject has a whole bunch of customers that wrote into them on their particular situation where they felt threatened. And if you feel threatened, whether it's real or not, I advise you to get out of that situation. You know, it's better to be safe than sorry. You know, I think it's a worthwhile product. I think it's something that people should think about buying if they have an electric vehicle. But if you do have an EV, I recommend using it. And maybe not in every time you plug in public. You can kind of check out the situation. If there's a lot of people and it's midday in a busy area, you're going to be fine. But if it's late at night or early in the morning and you're in one of these charging stations that doesn't have a lot of traffic and maybe in a less safe area, it wouldn't hurt to plug the thing in and use it. It's just that extra layer of protection. God forbid something happens, you can just, you know, get out of there. But if you do buy it and use it, don't be complacent. Always be aware of your surroundings. You know, because somebody can come up on you if you're not paying attention, and there could be a gun pressed against the glass, and you don't even have time at that point to go and press unlock charge port. So always be aware of your surroundings, whether you're charging an EV or not. I always tell my wife and my friends, always know what's going on around you, because that's the first step to avoiding any kind of problem. When you're sitting there and charging, and I'm not telling you to be constantly rubbernecking and looking in every direction, but keep an eye on things, particularly when you're in a bad area, and you'll be just fine. The EVject might give you that extra layer of security, and for that reason, I think it's a worthwhile purchase, especially for only $225 with that lifetime guarantee where you buy it, you use it, well, we'll give you another one. I think that's super on the company to do that. Again, I don't know if that will be forever, but they are offering that now, and I think it's a super deal. So if you do want to get the EVject, head over to the EVject website, use State of Charge, get 25% off. And listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.